All right, so are you ready to dive in? We're talking Ofra. And, I feel like a lot of people know her music. They've heard her songs, but they might not know the full story.
Right, it goes so much deeper than just the hits.
Yeah. It's really a story about cultural fusion and how her music became this bridge between different worlds. And ultimately, she became this global phenomenon.
You know what I find fascinating about her? She really embodies this intersection of like tradition and modernity.
Mhm.
It's there in every note. The way she blends her Yemenite Jewish heritage with, the sounds of Tel Aviv where she grew up.
Yeah,
It's like this musical time capsule of cultural evolution.
I love that. When I was reading through the articles, I was struck by the descriptions of those henna parties.
Oh, yeah.
Like these weddings bursting with music and dancing, all those intricate henna designs. It must have been so vibrant.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Imagine being surrounded by that energy as a young artist. The fusion of North African and Arab traditions, all within a Jewish community. Yeah. These henna celebrations are like living, breathing expressions of cultural identity.
Wow.
And that tapestry of influences, that's woven directly into Hazza's music, even her early work.
Yeah, like her hit Shir HaFreya, which, by the way, I thought it was really interesting that the word Freya is actually a derogatory term used against Mizrahi women.
Mm,
It's almost like she's reclaiming the word, turning it into a symbol of empowerment.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's a bold statement.
Yeah.
Reclaiming a word that's been used to diminish Mizrahi women and transforming it into an anthem of liberation. You can feel that defiance, that spirit of challenging the status quo,
Mm.
and it really resonated especially among women in Israel.
Yeah, but it also hints at, those complex social dynamics at play in Israel, right? It
Mhm.
seems like there's a deeper story there about how Mizrahi Jews were perceived.
Oh, there is.
Yeah.
You have to understand that Israeli society at the time was grappling with its own identity, trying to find a balance between its European roots and the diverse cultural heritage of its people. And within that context, Mizrahi Jews, with their Middle Eastern and North African traditions, often found themselves facing stereotypes and prejudice.
Hmm.
It's a reminder that music isn't created in a vacuum. It reflects the social and political realities of its time, the struggles and triumphs of a community.
That's such a good point. So then we come to this pivotal moment in Hazza's career, the 1983 Eurovision Song Contest.
Oh, yeah.
Can you imagine that pressure? Performing on a global stage in Germany, of all places, with a song steeped in Jewish history and resilience?
Absolutely.
I remember reading about how the song Chai, meaning alive, almost didn't make it into the contest.
Yeah.
So what happened there?
Well, you see, there were some people who felt that the song was too war,
To what?
too Jewish.
Yeah.
They were afraid of how it would be perceived, especially in Germany.
Right.
But Hazza, she fought for it. She believed in the message of the song.
That's powerful.
And ultimately, she won. She got to perform Chai on that global stage, and it became this incredible moment of triumph. You have to remember, this is more than just a catchy tune. It's a powerful declaration of survival, a testament to the enduring spirit of the Jewish people.
Yeah, you can almost hear centuries of history echoing in that melody.
Right, and consider the context. The rise of anti-Semitism in Europe at the time added another layer of significance to her performance. It's no wonder it struck a chord with audiences worldwide.
That's amazing. I'm getting chills just thinking about it. It's incredible how music can transcend those boundaries and speak to something so universal.
Exactly. Music has that power.
Mm.
It can connect us on a level that goes beyond language or culture. It can tap into those shared human experiences that unite us all.
It's like a universal language.
Yeah, exactly.
So with that in mind, let's delve a little deeper into the Israeli music scene at that time, because from what I understand, it was a pretty complex landscape.
Oh, it was.
Hmm.
It was definitely a melting pot of different influences and styles,
Mm.
but there were also these underlying tensions and power dynamics at play.
I'm curious to learn more about that. So let's unpack it a bit in the next part of our deep dive.
Sounds good. I'm ready when you are. That Eurovision performance, it really catapulted her onto the world stage. And it's interesting to think about how that global exposure might have influenced perceptions back home in Israel. Especially, with all that tension between Mizrahi and mainstream music.
Yeah, that's a good point. Because from what I've read, the Israeli music scene back then was heavily influenced by Western styles. It's almost like there was a conscious effort to, distance themselves from anything that sounded too Middle Eastern.
Right. We have to remember, this was the 70s and 80s, and Israel was still kind of forging its national identity.
Right.
And for a lot of the country's founders, who, came from Europe, embracing Western music was seen as a way to align themselves with modern European culture. Think about it, folk rock, even classical music. It was a way to project a certain image to the world, especially, in contrast to their Arab neighbors.
So music became like a tool for shaping cultural identity.
Exactly. It was about defining what it meant to be Israeli. But unfortunately, that vision didn't really leave much room for Mizrahi music with its blend of North African and Middle Eastern traditions.
Right. So basically, Mizrahi music was being excluded from the mainstream.
Yeah, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And it went beyond just musical preference.
Mm-hmm.
This marginalization of Mizrahi music reflected a deeper social and cultural divide within Israeli society.
Mm-hmm.
There was a real prejudice against anything perceived as too Arab.
Wow.
And sadly, that included the music of Mizrahi Jews.
That's heartbreaking to think that an entire genre of music, an integral part of a culture's heritage, was being actively excluded.
It's a tragic reality.
Mm.
And unfortunately, it's a pattern we see repeated throughout history.
Yeah.
Think about the U.S., for example. African-American music genres like jazz, blues, and rock and roll face similar prejudice and exclusion for decades.
That's so true. It's a reminder of how power dynamics can shape cultural landscapes and often silence or marginalize voices that deserve to be heard.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Mizrahi music didn't disappear. It thrived underground.
Yeah.
Finding an audience through weddings, community gatherings, anywhere people could gather and celebrate their heritage.
So it was like this underground movement keeping the tradition alive.
Right. And that grassroots movement, that unwavering spirit of preserving their musical traditions, eventually it forced the mainstream to take notice. They couldn't ignore the fact that Mizrahi music was resonating with a huge segment of the Israeli population.
So they basically built their own platform outside the established norms.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's a powerful reminder of the importance of resilience. The importance of preserving one's cultural heritage, even in the face of adversity.
Yeah, it's inspiring, and it speaks to the power of music to connect with people on a deeper level, regardless of those societal barriers.
Absolutely. And then you have Ofra, who emerges as this symbol of that movement, a voice that bridged the gap between the marginalized Mizrahi music scene and the mainstream.
Right. Her album Yemenite Songs stands out at a pivotal moment in that journey.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That album was groundbreaking. She took these ancient Yemenite melodies steeped in tradition and infused them with modern pop elements. It was a fusion unlike anything the world had heard before. And what's fascinating is that it actually gained more recognition abroad initially than in Israel.
Really?
Yeah, it was a British record label that discovered a remix of her song Gulby, and that's what really propelled her onto the global stage.
So it took an outside perspective to recognize her brilliance.
In a way, yeah. It just goes to show how music can transcend borders, how it can speak to a universal human experience that goes beyond cultural boundaries. And that's part of what makes Ofra Haza's story so compelling. She's a testament to the power of embracing one's heritage, blending tradition and modernity, and ultimately finding a voice that resonates with the world.
That's beautiful. And speaking of blending tradition and modernity, her song Imni Alu is such a perfect example of that. Can you tell us a little bit more about that song?
Oh, Emni Nalu. That's a masterpiece of musical fusion. It takes an ancient Yemenite biblical poem, sets it to a traditional melody, but then layers on these modern pop instrumentations. And she even incorporates some English lyrics.
Oh.
It's like a sonic journey that spans centuries and continents, seamlessly blending these different musical worlds.
It's amazing how she manages to weave together those disparate elements. It feels both timeless and utterly contemporary.
Exactly. She took this ancient tradition and breathed new life into it, made it relevant to a global audience.
It's inspiring to see how one artist can challenge those preconceived notions and create a space for understanding and appreciation.
Absolutely. And that's a theme that runs throughout Ofra Haza's career. Her music isn't just about entertainment. It's about building bridges, fostering dialogue, and reminding us of our shared humanity.
And speaking of building bridges and fostering dialogue, Liat Portal, the brilliant mind behind this deep dive, is doing just that through her work. She's not just a podcast creator. She's a storyteller weaving together threads of music history, food art, all these different facets of Israeli culture to create this tapestry that's both vibrant and insightful.
And she does it with such passion. You can feel her genuine love for the subject matter in every episode. It's like she's inviting us on a journey of discovery, sharing her own fascination with Israeli culture and encouraging us to delve deeper, to explore those connections for ourselves.
Exactly. And it's not just about passively consuming information, She encourages us to engage, to question, to think critically about the world around us.
Right. It's that kind of active engagement that leads to true understanding and appreciation.
Absolutely. So for those of you listening who are intrigued by Liat's work and want to delve deeper, I highly recommend checking out her Substack newsletter, The Liat Show: My Journey to Infinity, a Story Unfolding Across Timelines. It's a treasure trove of fascinating stories and insights, and all the content is currently free for subscribers.
That's right. And you can also find the Layat Show podcast on various platforms, including YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Patreon. Be sure to subscribe and leave a review, especially on Spotify, where commenting on individual episodes is a great way to show your support and help Layat reach a wider audience.
And if you're interested in learning more about the technical side of things, how this podcast was created, using the power of AI, just search NotebookLM Layat Portal Podcast on Google. It's fascinating to see how technology can be used to push the boundaries of storytelling and make knowledge more accessible.
It's an exciting time to be a content creator. And Liat is definitely at the forefront of innovation, using technology in creative ways to connect with audiences and share her passion for Israeli culture.
Speaking of innovation and cultural impact, let's circle back to Ofra Haza's international breakthrough. It's amazing to think how a remix of her song Galbi caught the attention of a British record label and launched her onto the global stage.
Right. It's a reminder that sometimes it takes an outside perspective to recognize the brilliance that might be overlooked in one's own culture. And it speaks to the universal appeal of Haza's music, its ability to connect with people from all walks of life.
And that connection, that resonance, wasn't just about catchy melodies. There's a deeper message woven into her music, a message of resilience, of hope, especially in the face of adversity.
Absolutely. Songs like Chai are more than just pop anthems. They're anthems of survival, of perseverance. And considering the context of rising anti-Semitism at the time, her music offered a powerful message of strength and hope to a global Jewish audience.
Yeah, it's powerful to think about how music can provide solace and inspiration, especially during times of uncertainty and fear. And in a way, Ofra Haza became a symbol of that resilience, representing not just her own cultural heritage, but also the enduring spirit of the Jewish people.
Her legacy continues to inspire artists and music lovers around the world. She showed us the power of embracing one's roots, of pushing boundaries, and ultimately finding a voice that can change the world.
That's what makes this deep dive so compelling. You know, we're not just exploring music, we're delving into cultural identity, social change, and the power of finding your voice, even when the world tries to silence you.
And it's a reminder that music has this incredible ability to unite us, to bridge divides, and to spark conversations that matter. It's a powerful tool for understanding empathy and ultimately for building a more inclusive and compassionate world.
You know, it's amazing how one person's voice can have such a profound impact, both within their own culture and on a global scale. Ofra Haza's journey is really a testament to that.
It is. It's a reminder that music can be this catalyst for change, a force that challenges norms and breaks down barriers. And, we see that reflected in the work of Layat Portal, too.
Oh, absolutely.
The creative mind behind this deep dive. She's using her platform to amplify these diverse voices, to explore the rich tapestry of Israeli culture, and to spark those meaningful conversations.
Yeah, about identity history, our shared humanity. I mean, when I think about Layat's approach, it's her ability to weave together all these seemingly disparate elements, music, history, food, art, into this cohesive and compelling narrative.
It's like she's creating this mosaic.
Yeah.
Each piece contributing to a larger, more intricate picture.
Exactly. And she does it in a way that's both informative and engaging. You can tell she's genuinely passionate about these topics.
Oh, yeah.
And that passion, it's contagious. It makes you want to dive deeper, to explore those connections further, uncover those hidden layers of meaning.
She gives us the key to unlock this whole new world of understanding.
And that's what I love about this deep dive format.
Yeah.
It's not about passively absorbing information.
Right.
It's about actively engaging with ideas, questioning assumptions, and broadening our perspectives.
And that's so important, especially in today's world, where you're constantly bombarded with information from all sides.
Right.
It's crucial to develop those critical thinking skills, to be able to discern truth from fiction.
Yeah.
And to engage in meaningful dialogue with those who hold different viewpoints.
Absolutely. Liat provides a framework for doing just that. She encourages us to be curious, to ask questions, to challenge our own biases, and to embrace the complexity of the world around us.
And that's what makes her work so valuable.
Yeah.
She's not just entertaining us. She's empowering us to become more informed, more engaged, and more compassionate global citizens.
Well said. So, for those of you who are as inspired by Liat's work as we are, we have some exciting news to share. Did you know that she's hoping to reach 1,000 subscribers on her YouTube channel by the end of the month?
Yes, that's a big milestone, because it could lead to a nomination for the YouTube Rising Star Award.
Wow.
It would be a fantastic way to support independent creators who are pushing the boundaries of storytelling and creating content that truly matters.
Absolutely. So if you're enjoying this deep dive and you want to support Liet's journey, head over to YouTube and subscribe to her channel. It takes just a second, and it could make a huge difference in helping her gain the recognition she deserves.
It's a small gesture, but it can have a big impact. And while you're there, be sure to check out her other videos and explore the diverse range of topics she covers.
And if you want to stay connected with Liet's work, I highly recommend subscribing to her Substack newsletter, The Liet Show, My Journey to Infinity, a story unfolding across timelines. It's a treasure trove of fascinating stories, insights, and behind-the-scenes glimpses into her creative process.
And the best part is, all the content on Substack is free, and you can adjust your pledge at any time. It's a great way to support independent creators and to stay informed about the latest happenings in Liet's world.
You can also find the Liet Show podcast on various platforms, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. And don't forget to leave a review, especially on Spotify, where those comments and ratings really help boost the show's visibility.
Every review, every comment, it helps spread the word and introduce more people to Liet's unique blend of storytelling and insight.
And for those of you who are curious about the technology behind this podcast, how it was created using the power of AI, you can find more information by searching NotebookLM Liet Portal Podcast on Google.
It's a fascinating glimpse into the future of content creation and how AI is being used to enhance storytelling and make knowledge more accessible.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the world of Ofra, let's take a moment to reflect on what we've learned. We've explored the power of music to transcend cultural boundaries, to challenge social norms, and to amplify marginalized voices.
We've seen how one artist can inspire a movement, how tradition and modernity can intertwine to create something new and captivating, and how resilience and perseverance can triumph over adversity.
Ofra's story is a testament to the power of music to connect us, to inspire us, and to remind us of our shared humanity.
And it's a reminder that each of us has a voice, a story to tell, a unique perspective to share with the world.
So as you go about your day, we encourage you to think about the music that moves you, the stories that resonate with you, and the voices that inspire you.
Embrace the power of curiosity. Explore the world with open eyes and an open heart. And never underestimate the impact that one voice can have on the world.
Until next time, keep diving.